Hello, friends, and namaste. Welcome back to the sacred space with me, your host Preetha Lal, as we spend some time reading the book Eternal Values for a Changing Society by the late Srimad Swami Ranganathananda ji. As you are aware, if you're following this podcast, Swami Ranganathananda was the 13th president of the Ramakrishna Matan mission, but he was also so much more. He was a scholar par excellence, a spiritual ambassador, a philosopher, a teacher. This multi-volume treatise that I have decided to read to you through this podcast is a true testament to the breadth of his knowledge and the depth of his wisdom. In this episode, the Swami introduces the idea of Guru and Shishya that is of utmost significance in ancient Indian traditions. And he exemplifies it so beautifully with Sri Krishna and Arjuna in these two pivotal roles and their dialogue, bringing forth an immense depth of philosophy, which is the Gita. Let us continue, friends. Sri Krishna, the ideal teacher. Yield not to this unmanliness. Striking a note of robust optimism, Sri Krishna asked Arjuna to shake off his weakness and to steady himself. It was the intention of Sri Krishna to make Arjuna's mind steady before he could give him any kind of wisdom. For a grief-stricken mind is not at all a fit receptacle for wisdom. Unless we get out of the depressed state and become calmer, we shall not be able to assimilate any lofty advice. This is seen in our everyday experience. Therefore, the first thing necessary was to pacify the mind of Arjuna, and only then could he listen and profit from reason and advice. So, Sri Krishna exhorts Arjuna in powerful accents. Yield not to this kind of unmanliness, O Arjuna, he says, for it does not befit you. Give up this mean faint-heartedness and stand up, O scorcher of thine enemies. Unquote. The result of this kind of rebuke was wholesome. It steadied the mind of Arjuna. For as we proceed on, we find that Arjuna becomes calm and there is some sort of reason in his talk with Sri Krishna. Now he begins to put forth his doubts in a more cogent language and without much sorrow and emotion. He says, and I quote, "How shall I fight against Bhishma and Drona with these sharp arrows? They are fit to be worshipped by me. They are my elders, and they are respected by one and all." He also says, "Instead of killing these high-souled ones who are our gurus, I prefer to live a mendicant's life. By killing them who are running after wealth, I shall gain only enjoyments which are blood-smeared." Arjuna then surrenders himself to his teacher. When he says, "With my nature overpowered by weak commiseration, with a mind in confusion about duty, I supplicate thee. They say decidedly, what is good for me? I am thy disciple. Instruct me who has taken refuge in thee." Shreya versus Preya. Arjuna, in these words, places his problem before Sri Krishna and seeks his guidance. In the midst of imminent destruction outside and confusion within, the mind bows to some higher power. Arjuna was fortunate in that he had Krishna to show him the way. He places his problem before Krishna. He says, "I am in confusion as to what is right and what is wrong. I am in the midst of a piquant situation. I seek your help. My nature is smitten by narrow-mindedness. I am unable to decide what is my dharma and what is adharma. What is my present duty in reference to my true welfare? I want your answer, taking into full consideration the circumstances of my case." Unquote. In all critical situations, we shall have to seek a way leading to our true welfare and not merely what is pleasing to us. We want what is Shreyas and not what is merely preyas. This we learn in the Katha Upanishad, where Yama tells Nachiketa, "One thing is Shreyas, which is good, and quite different indeed is preyas, which is pleasant. Having been of different requisitions, they both bind man. Good befalls him who follows the good, but loses he the goal who chooses the pleasant." A fool takes what is pleasant and comes to grief in the end. He misses the true end of life. That is how Yama discusses a most important problem of ethics in the second chapter of the Kathopanishad. Here, Arjuna asks this question, Yat Shreyasyat, what is it that will conduce me to my welfare? Of the two, pleasant and beneficent, please tell me what is beneficent, and I shall do as you tell. Decide for yourself what is to my welfare, for I am in confusion and do not know what is my good. I am your disciple, and I accept your decision. I accept you as my friend, philosopher, and guide. Thus, the beautiful seventh shloka of the second chapter opens the way for imparting of wisdom of the Gita. For here, troubled and confused, Arjuna surrenders to and seeks the guidance of Sri Krishna. Confused mind surrenders to calm philosophy. It is not that we should surrender to every A, B, or C who comes to lord over us and destroy what little wisdom we possess. The Kathopanishad warns us of this danger. It says, fools dwelling in the very midst of ignorance, yet vainly fancying themselves to be wise and learned, go round and round, staggering like blind men led by the blind. Sri Krishna as the Guru. From what we have seen of Sri Krishna, we realize that he was a man of wisdom and the world around him looked up to him for guidance. It is no wonder, therefore, that Arjuna asked him for guidance. As I have pointed out before, Krishna was always detached, deep in the midst of things, yet keeping his mind above things. Ralph Waldo Emerson, when he was discussing the ideal life, paraphrases a famous shloka of the Gita and says that it is easy to lose oneself in the crowd or to be calm when alone, but the ideal person is one who, remaining and functioning in society, keeps his head in solitude. If, when the world orders, we weep, and when the world orders, we smile, it is but a very ordinary thing. But perfection comes only when, even in a marketplace, the mind is kept calm. Otherwise, it is one-sided development only. When Arjuna is in confusion, Krishna is calm and speaks with a smile, knowing fully well that he could remove it. So, to surrender to such a person is to ensure our progress. Here the disciple is a great soul and the teacher too. And when a great disciple is facing a great teacher, we expect the statement of a life-giving truth as the issue of that contact. The Kathopanishad refers to this in these words. When a wonderful disciple and a wonderful teacher come together, there is born great wisdom. Arjuna accepts, therefore, Sri Krishna as his guide. If, after examining the credentials of a person in all aspects and finding him worthy, we surrender ourselves to him, we are safe in his hands. On the contrary, if we give away our independence into the hands of any and every person without discrimination, there is every chance of our ruining ourselves. In this country, we have to take special notice of this. Where there are many gurus and few disciples, you do not know to whom to surrender. There is a beautiful verse in the praise of Shankaracharya containing a caustic remark about the state of things. It says, there are many gurus who deprive the disciples of their wealth, but different from all such gurus, I bow down to the one Guru Shankara who deprives the disciples of their sorrows. Qualifications of true guru. Once we get such a teacher, there is no harm in surrendering ourselves to him, for we are not surrendering to any particular person, but to the wisdom incarnate in him. On the contrary, if we surrender to any and every person, it will be harmful both to the teacher and the disciple. As Sri Ramakrishna expresses it in a parable. Once a water snake caught a big frog but could not swallow it. The frog was croaking in pain as the snake could neither swallow it nor leave it out. The snake was also put into great hardship. But if the cobra had caught the frog, it could have been silenced with one or two croaks. If the Guru is not a person of wisdom, both the Guru and the disciple will suffer. The Guru must have great power to digest his own as well as the student's miseries. He must be able to lift him up and save him. In the Vivekcharamani, Shankaracharya gives the qualifications of a true Guru. And it says, "Who is well versed in the Vedas, sinless, not smitten by desire, and a knower of Brahman par excellence, who has achieved tranquility in Brahman, who is calm like the fire that has consumed its fuel, who is a boundless reservoir of mercy, that knows no motive, and a friend to all good people who prostrate themselves before him." Every word in this phrase is full of meaning and significance. A true Guru must know the spirit of the Shrutis, not the mere letter, but the spirit of the scriptures. He must have lived the life that the Shastras teach. He must be free from sinfulness. Only a sinless person can possess the saving power, and this belongs to one who has achieved perfection in morality and ethics. He should not be smitten by any desire. He must be absolutely free from the promptings of selfish desires. His sole desire must be to do the good of others. He who is the best among the knowers of the Brahman, who is merged in God, so that at any point you touch him, you get only God out of him. He must be tranquil. You cannot bring tranquility to another without yourself being tranquil. He need not even formally teach, but wherever he is, he becomes a living temple, a church, or a living mosque, because he has touched the feet of God. How does he attain it? Like a flaming fire that has burnt itself out. The human mind is compared to a flaming fire, for desires are there like burning fire, and the objects of desires are like the fuel. The true Guru must be a person in whom all fire of desire has burnt out. When the fire ceases to be fed by fuel, it is put out and it is all calm and quiet. That is the mind that has destroyed all desire, that has become tranquil. The mind that has fulfilled all desires, that has Atman for its content of desire, and that is desireless in every other sense. As the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad proclaims, we have various desires and we want to satisfy them. But his heart is full. How does he become full? Because his desires pertain to the Atman. By desiring the Atman, one fulfills all desires. It is the catalytic agent that destroys all selfish desires. Thank you, friends, for your time and attention today as we conclude this episode. This space continues to be one of mindful contemplation as we think more and more about the words of Swami Ranganathananda. We will conclude reading this chapter where we will learn more about this concept of desire and desirelessness and some of Arjuna's self-surrender to Krishna, and the role of Sri Krishna as a wellspring of wisdom that removes ignorance and delusion in the next episode. We will conclude reading this entire chapter in the next episode, where the Swami talks more about this significance and this dynamics between Arjuna and Krishna, as also the philosophy of the Guru Shishya tradition in the Indian scriptural and cultural history. But more on that next time. For now, I take your leave. This is Preetha. Thank you for being here. Stay well and namaste.